So it's another glorious or stifling hot day, depending on how you're inclined. For me, it's a bit too hot for me, really. Just down the allotment for a few minutes, doing a bit of watering, so I thought I'd do a tour around my plot. So the polytunnel is looking fairly empty at the moment. We've just really got the stuff that's in the beds and one container that's got these early French beans on it. They're doing really great. I'm really happy with these. Great little harvest. Been harvesting these for about a week now. Not the earliest harvest, to be honest, but it's pretty prolific, and it will serve as a stopgap until our later successions are ready. And then you can just see it peeking through here. I've got my second batch, it's actually my third batch, I suppose, of cucumbers. So I've got one in that corner down there, and then I've got a bed of French beans running along here, tomatoes running along there, beetroot behind the chair, carrots. I'm determined to get some carrots out of the polytunnel in summer. I've tried it a couple of times, I've failed for various different reasons. I'm trying again. I love carrots, can't get enough of them in summer, don't want to grow them in containers, so trying them there. And then there's the rest of my cucumbers. So it doesn't look like a lot of cucumbers, but these are just really the ones we'll be eating. Hopefully in kind of, you know, a late August, September sort of time, because for now we're eating the cucumbers that are there, the ones that are at home, and the one that's there, and the one that's there. And we're getting about, I know, so many, I can't keep track, like 60 cucumbers a week or something like that at the moment, and that is enough, but it's not too many. There's a family, we get through all those. Anyway, more tomatoes down here, and just some cutting celery and ordinary celery down here, which is really late, and yeah, may not have been the best place to put it in here, but that was the only space I had for it. Got some more dwarf French beans out here, loads of compost, more compost than I've ever had before, so I'm really happy about that. I'm not happy about that though. Get that out of there. Weeds, this sort of weed really drives me crazy. Right, the plot is looking great, although I've got a lot of plastic, and I hate plastic, but you just have to live with it because you just can't grow nowadays without a little bit of plastic. So let's take a look around. So I've just taken that net off here, and these are Brussels sprouts interplanted with leeks, doing quite nicely. Just put support stakes in here. And then down here, that was the garlic, just taken that out, into put storage beetroot in there. The net is on there just to provide a little bit of shade while they get established. Then they're going to be mulched with the structure that was on that bed, that is now just in some containers down there. I've got some leeks here. These might be a short-lived planting because they've got rust from the garlic that was here, but it probably wouldn't have mattered because there's rust everywhere across this allotment. Every bit of garlic you can see, you might be able to see a bit of garlic there, everywhere, all the garlic has got rust. So I suspect all the leeks on the site will also have rust. Well, we're pointing in this direction, put the support canes in here for my climbing squashes. I'm going to hang the climbing squashes from the cross pieces, the actual fruits, and then train the stems up the canes. Hopefully you can see those canes. You see them? They're kind of V shape. So then down here, more Brussels sprouts and colettes under this net. This net needs to come off really soon. I'll show you where that's going in a minute. Gooseberries, looking pretty good, quite happy with those. Not quite ready for harvest yet. We like to eat ours fresh, so we like them harvested ripe. It's a very short kind of harvest window for gooseberries. Either we get them when they're ripe or the birds get them when they're ripe, so it's a bit of a race. That bed there, looking a bit of a mess, that is all the early brassicas. So that's early cauliflowers, calabrese, Brussels sprouts, red cabbages and kales. It's got 2 weeks of life left until it all comes out. It's going to then be replaced with purple sprouting broccoli, which is almost ready to go in, and then those nets will go over that bed there for a few months. So then let's look at this bed. Carrots, actually looking really nice. We weeded those yesterday. These are the winter and spring carrots for next year, so they'll stay in the ground a really long time, and so you've got to choose your variety. So in my case I've chosen Eskimo. They're looking great. This is the collect bed, really important bed for us, because we eat the leaves all the way through sort of late summer, autumn, early winter, then we eat the actual flower sprouts off the stems, and then we're kind of back to the leaves again in very early spring, and then this bed will come out and probably something like onions will go in here. Looks superficially okay, but the plants look a little bit floppy because we haven't had very much rain, and it's just hard to keep up with watering big plants like that. Down here we've got apple trees, cherry tree, another apple tree down there, and then these are the late strawberries. We've got some really nice courgettes here. These are one of those ball shaped ones. They look absolutely gorgeous. And then these are just traditional ones. There's a yellow one down there, I think, and a traditional green one. Some calabrese under there, not looking very interesting. Under there I've got some golden purslane, and then more carrots in here. Just weeded those. These are the carrots we're just about to start harvesting. I just did a trial harvest of one of those, just the first one on the row, and it looks great. These are the early main crop potatoes. Just rummaged around in there and picked a few just to see what they were like, and because there is some natural dieback on some of these leaves, so it looks like they're pretty much ready for harvest, and they look like they're ready for harvest, so pretty pleased with those. And then all the way down here, under all these plastic covers, these are all peppers. So under that tunnel there, those are the first early ones, the ones that we started in December, and they're looking great. We're harvesting those now, and yeah, they're long yellow Ringo. They're a fantastic early variety, really love those. And then basically we've just got various different successions of different types of pepper, and yeah, if you want to see which varieties, then take a look in the description at the individual growing guide on peppers, and it tells you all the different varieties and things that I'm growing. And under this one here, these are my babies. So these are the last ones. Only planted those out just over a week ago, and yeah, they're looking super healthy, but really tiny with no peppers on them. And then let's take a look at the onions. So the onions are kind of scattered all over the place this year because we didn't have a main bed for them, just a bit of successional sowing disaster, I suppose, planning disaster, whatever you want to call it. But they're doing okay in these coil frames, a little bit leggy perhaps, but experience tells me that they will be fine. Great leaf growth on them though, which is exactly what I want to see at this time of year. Plenty of leaf growth to support bulb growth as we go into summer. So yeah, we're looking forward to seeing how those turn out. And then some later sown onions here, interplanted with beetroot. Those beetroot are all sizing up really nicely, but actually the best beetroot that I've got are the ones at the back of one of those little low tunnels that's got the peppers in it, and those are huge, absolutely fantastic. And we've already harvested loads of beetroot from the polytunnel, so we're absolutely awash with beetroot at the moment. More beetroot in here. This is interplanted with salad onions around the outside, leeks on the inside, and main crop onions on the inside of that one with salad onions around the outside. So quite a complicated interplant, All's looking really nice though, quite happy with it. This is a real experimental bed. So this is my early parsnip bed. The parsnips are looking pretty good in the main. There's a few of them that are looking a bit rough, and they're interplanted with shallots, zabun shallots. The zabun shallots are looking pretty good. They've still got until August obviously to be harvested, so plenty of time. Second early strawberries almost finished now. First earlies were finished a few weeks ago, and so I'm eagerly awaiting my main crops, which are at home, and then you saw the late crops a few minutes ago, and I've just got a few more strawberries down here, which are the kind of super late crop, which will go in the polytunnel to give us a harvest into late autumn. I mentioned, I think, that I moved all my courgettes outside that were in the polytunnel, so they're all down here now, looking quite nice. And down here I've got my ochre and New Zealand spinach. Again, it's all quite happy with that. So this is the asparagus. We've just finished harvesting that and letting it grab on now, and interplanted into here we've got some early red onions and some early white onions. I won't dwell on these because I'll do another video on these, because I'm really pleased with the results of this experiment here. But what you need to see just now is really good sizes on those. Very happy with them. First early peas just about finished now, and I just had this bit of spare space. I didn't know what to do with it, so I don't normally direct seed things, but I decided just to direct seed some baby salad greens, and it's turned out pretty nice actually. Quite pleased with that. Started harvesting that last week. Just popped a few little lettuces and salad onions in here, and the net is on just because the birds were kind of scratching around in there. I just wanted to keep them off. And the reason I've got salads here, which I don't normally do because I normally have them back home, is because we've had over the last 2 years quite a bad problem with lettuce root aphid later on in the year. So as a hedge against getting that again, I've got a few salads here. These are the early Brussels sprouts, pretty much finished now. I've just taken all the sprout tops off these, so you can see, taken these off, and as a result of that, starting to get kind of blown sprouts now on the stems, and I love blown sprouts, so I like them much more than actual kind of tight sprouts. So they've got about 2 more weeks now to form those blown sprouts, and then this bed will be out and replanted. So got some more onions, again looking pretty good. Tomatoes out of the polytunnel. They're the super late strawberries, and I need to keep reminding myself to take these flowers off because I don't want them putting energy into growing strawberries at this time of year. I want them late. And these were the strawberries that were in the hanging basket. I've just potted these up, and so I'm going to be using those as early strawberries next year, in addition to the ones in hanging baskets, because we never have enough. And down here we've got the last of the second early potatoes, and then this was a bit of a trial. What I did here was I harvested these I emptied these tubs of potatoes in April, and I chose 1 potato out of each tub and just put it back in the tub with a small handful of bloodfish and bone to recondition the compost, in the hope that I would just get another crop of potatoes. And as expected, I got another crop of potatoes. How good they'll be, I don't know, but certainly the easiest way I've ever planted potatoes. So down the centre of this bed we've got the elephant garlic. We leave some of it just to go to flower, just because it just looks so beautiful, and I'm just kind of growing it in big clumps, and so that we can harvest some of it for the bulbs and leave some of it to be harvested as leeks next spring. Talking of garlic, here's the garlic, 2/3 of it anyway, that we've harvested from the allotment, and the rest of it is back home. So it's just drying now. I'll be processing that in about 2 weeks' time, I should think. Outside of my plot, I've got my cherry tree, my flower border, and my secret weapon against pigeons. The pigeons love this perennial kale plant, and so they sit on here and they munch on these leaves, and they don't bother me for the rest of the plot, and I don't mind them eating the perennial kale at this time of year because I've got plenty of brassicas. I've got a pear tree here, I've got a plum tree here with no plums and lots of aphids. I've got an apple tree here, a blackberry tree here, blackberry bush here, another apple tree here, and another perennial kale plant, and lost a few branches in the wind. I don't really care about that, as I say, not really picking it at the moment, just letting it build its strength up for spring, because that's when we really need it. To get some questions about brassicas being uncovered at this time of year and caterpillars. Well, we do get caterpillars, we're not immune from them. Just keep an eye out for them and spray with BT. I'm lucky enough to have some BT that I sourced off eBay. It's not actually licensed for use by domestic growers, but I'm quite happy to continue to use it because I know what I'm doing. So hope you liked this quick video. My name's Steve, this is the Seaside Kitchen Garden and Allotment channel, and I'll see you soon.